So it's been pretty much nailed on now by Kevin Feige that the new Fantastic Four movie, which will be shooting later on this year and releasing next year, is actually going to be in its own separate universe. And this is actually really good for the MCU and could actually be the way forward for the cinematic universe in terms of its quality. Let's talk about it. So how can the Fantastic Four movie save the whole universe? Like, how is it possible that this one movie could practically save the entire cinematic universe? Well, it's not technically possible, but I think this could be the template and the blueprint for the way forward for this cinematic universe. So Kevin Feige obviously recently stated that basically this film will be set in the 1960s, it will be a 60s piece, and it will be separate from the other Marvel films in its own separate universe, but it will still be named under the Marvel Studios brand. Essentially, this now means that we won't have a Fantastic Four in the actual Marvel Cinematic Universe. Rather, they will be in their own separate universe, and likewise, all of the MCU characters that we've grown to know and love won't exist within the Fantastic Four universe. Some people will say, well, what's the point of having a shared universe if the Fantastic Four, literally, you know, the biggest superhero family of all time, aren't going to be existing within it? You acquired the rights to the Fantastic Four from Fox just to not put them in the MCU? Why is that? Well, obviously, with everything going on with the multiverse, we don't have to worry about that. They are eventually going to cross over, but having their solo movie directly be separate from the MCU is probably the best thing for them. As I just alluded to, the Fantastic Four are big characters, and to not include them in the MCU is a big move. But also, that is going to benefit the story more than anything. The Fantastic Four, especially Reed Richards, are big players within the Marvel Universe. They influence so many different factors in the Marvel Universe, from the 616 universe, for example. And the same would be true if they were to be included within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. How would you explain away the absence of the Fantastic Four? And how would you make them relevant in the MCU? And also, we've got to remember that there will be multiple stories that wouldn't be eligible to tell in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in its current state, really narrowing the creative freedom that the guys behind the Fantastic Four movie would have. However, and this is where the genius idea comes in, the fact that the Fantastic Four is set in its separate universe, whether it's intentional or not, means that basically the creators behind this film, the director, the writers, the producers, the actors, can take this film in any direction they want. They're not held back by the shared universe. And this has become a massive problem within the MCU as of recently. After Avengers Endgame, we can recall multiple accounts where projects have been held back by the fact that they have to adhere to a cinematic universe. WandaVision, She-Hulk, many other examples, Ant-Man Quantumania being one of the most recent as well. It's only really the Guardians of the Galaxy movies that don't really have any connection to Earth, kind of more of the cosmic movies, I guess you could say, that have a little bit more freedom when it comes to storytelling, but most things that are set on Earth are kind of tied down to what's going on in the universe at that point in time, as to not break canon and not retcon anything and just tread really lightly. But the Fantastic Four, with the major influence that those characters have on the universe around them, won't actually have this issue, and the story can be whatever the writers want it to be, which is why I think this is actually going to be a fantastic film, pun intended. We know Marvel Studios is capable of telling fantastic stories. They did it for 3 phases straight. But when the cinematic universe started taking the forefront, as it did from phase 4 onwards, and they cared more about cameos, fan service, and crossovers, the quality dipped. One example of a movie that could have been way better without the major cinematic universe influence is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Dr. Stephen Strange is such a complex character on the inside and the outside, and there's so many interesting stories and directions that Sam Raimi could have taken that character. But because the universe had to adhere to the fact that they were telling a multiverse story and it had to tie into the events of the next Avengers Avengers film. As we know, Doctor Strange will probably be one of the main characters. Sam Raimi couldn't really go in the direction that he probably wanted to. But like I said, this won't be an issue with the Fantastic Four movie. They can build Reed Richards, they can build Sue and Johnny, and they can build Ben Grimm however they want in the mold that the writers want. The creatives can do their thing. This movie can be whatever they want it to be. Now, obviously, they can't do whatever they wanted, because eventually these characters, probably at the end of this film, are going to eventually cross over into the MCU, but they can set up these characters exactly in the way that they imagined. And I think this will fix a lot of the MCU's problems, and I would not be surprised that if after this film comes out and if it is successful, that going forward solo movies of new characters are eventually set in separate universes and are then crossed over into the main universe at some point in the future. I would not be surprised if that is the template going forward, and I could totally see that happening with all the multiverse stuff going on right now. It wouldn't be hard to pull off either, but if the story is great and the movie is well received, I could definitely see them doing this at some point in time. But comment down below what you think about this. Make sure to like the video and subscribe for more comic book videos. Here you can watch my video on comparing the Superman suit and why it's stupid. Just go and check it out. You're going to want to see it because there's been some mad discourse on Twitter and Reddit the last few days. Like, it's unbelievable. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Take care and peace.